News Channel 15 presents The Film Reel, the best place to find out what's coming to theaters and your TV screen. It's The Film Reel. Hello and welcome into The Film Reel, your number one source for movie and TV news here on News Channel 15. I'm Bryce West here in the at-home studio once again, here to bring you another great episode of The Film Reel. We're going to start off with the box office results, what little that we have, and once again, the movie from last week, Phoenix, Oregon, opens at $2.9 thousand from the weekend of April 3rd to the 5th. So somewhere in America, there's still a theater open, which is interesting to see. I gotta find out where that theater is. I have no idea like how. Any movie, it's the only movie that was shown, and it made almost $3,000, and that was the total for the box office for that weekend. So yeah, it's really interesting to see numbers like that come in, obviously, since all the theaters are shut down. So I mean, history in the making here, folks. I mean, this is it. So yeah, very interesting stuff there. So moving on into some more movie news now. Ant-Man 3 hires Rick and Morty writers. So yeah, it looks like that Marvel is once again trying to hire on some writers from Rick and Morty to do some of their Marvel movies. They've done this in the past, so this definitely is not unusual for Marvel to use some of the Rick and Morty writers for their movies. Now, Ant-Man 3 is the newest release that will be having a Rick and Morty writer, and I think it's very interesting because, of course, Marvel is going into this new direction now that Endgame is over, and so they're going in a new direction with the story, which is the multiverse, so multiple universes and stuff like that, and Rick and Morty definitely explored a lot of that with the multiple universes and stuff like that. So these Rick and Morty writers are really good at making super complicated concepts seem simple within the show. So I feel like that's probably why they're hiring these Rick and Morty writers to write these new Marvel movies, is because these new Marvel movies are getting like really crazy and insane, and a bunch of stuff is going on with them, and so they want to make sure that everything makes sense within the context of the universe that they're trying to build, and it's simple for the audience to understand, so you don't have to watch every single Marvel movie to know what's going on in Ant-Man 3 or Captain Marvel 2 or whatever. I think that's definitely a good approach for Marvel to go in, because I mean we've gone well over 20 movies now in the same series of films, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I feel like a lot of people think that they have to watch every single Marvel movie to understand what's going on in the story, and that's not necessarily the case. Now, don't get me wrong, watching every Marvel movie helps you understand all the references and stuff, but you don't need to understand those small little references to know what's going on in the plot of the movie, and I think that's very important for Marvel to keep focused on, because you don't want people to stop going to see your movies because they don't understand what's going on because they haven't seen all the other movies. So I think it's very important that they do that, and I'm glad that they are taking this approach with the Marvel movies here in the future. So moving on into some serious news now. Ezra Miller, the actor who plays as Barry Allen the Flash in the Justice League movie, he was also supposed to play as Barry Allen the Flash in the Flash 2022 film. And he also plays as Credence in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Footage has recently surfaced of Miller attacking a woman at a bar in Iceland. So yeah, some pretty serious stuff there. At first, everybody was kind of, oops, sorry, I just bumped everything there. But at first, it seemed like that this could have been a faked video. But Variety had gotten in contact with the bar in Iceland that Miller was at and confirmed that Miller was the person at the bar, and he was escorted off the premises along with the woman who was supposedly heckling him. They were kind of making fun of him, giving him a hard time. However, Miller still did take it a step too far when in attacking the woman, grabbing her by the throat and taking her to the ground. We're not going to show any footage of that here, but it's very serious stuff that is going on right now, and it begs the question, what is Warner Brothers going to do? Because Ezra Miller was a huge factor in two franchises for Warner Brothers, that being The Flash and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So now Warner Brothers is in quite the pickle here because their lead actor is, well, attacking people. And not only was he attacking people, but he was in a bar in Iceland during the coronavirus pandemic. Don't get me wrong, it seems like that Iceland doesn't have the strict lockdown procedures that like we do here in the States, but it's still one of those deals to where he is an American going out of the country, going to a bar, and who knows how stuff could be spread like that in these uncertain times. It was, first of all, very irresponsible for Miller to just go out of the country, and to go, not only did he go out of the country, but he also went to a bar out of the country. So yeah, first of all, that was very irresponsible for Miller to do just that alone. And then he gets into an argument with some fans of his at the bar. They both are kicked out of the bar, and then outside of the bar, they still continue to heckle him. Instead of leaving the situation, Miller decided to grab the woman by the throat and take her to the ground. Now, obviously, it's not a matter of will Warner Brothers fire Miller, but it's how and when they will fire Miller, because you can't have your lead actor just attacking people. I mean, obviously, if they continue to have Ezra Miller be the Flash and play Credence in the Fantastic Beasts films, I mean, the severe backlash will be too much for Warner Brothers, at least in my opinion. And it's definitely a rough situation that they're in, because Miller was supposed to lead, of course, the Flash as Barry Allen, the Flash. And he was a huge character in Fantastic Beasts, so Warner Brothers is now sitting here going like, what the heck are we supposed to do? Because now we have Ezra Miller going around attacking people. Now, I think it's an important point to be said that I don't think that this is necessarily the end of Ezra Miller's career. I mean, people like Robert Downey Jr. are able to recover from controversial situations, but he's definitely not going to be in a major movie for a while. It's going to be rough, because you don't judge someone by their worst moment. Ezra Miller could very well, outside of this moment, be a very nice person and a good individual, but he just had a bad moment. I don't know Ezra Miller. For all I know, he does this all the time. So it does concern me that this was the reaction that he took. I mean, if he just, he's a celebrity. He's got to know that there's going to be people watching him, right? So, and this was caught on video with someone's phone. So, I assume that Ezra Miller had to have known that he was being recorded, because the video was only shot a couple feet away from the incident. So, the fact that Ezra Miller thought that he could get away with choking a female fan, it was mind-blowing. I couldn't believe my eyes. I didn't think it was real at first. I thought somehow it must have been faked, because I considered myself an Ezra Miller fan. I liked all the films that I saw him in, except for Fantastic Beasts 2, but that wasn't really his fault. It was the script's fault. But, it was just unbelievable to see, and to hear that it actually was him was just shocking for me, and I was just blown away. Blown away. Moving on to some more news here for today. The Office producers develop a COVID-19 inspired series. So, before everybody raises an eyebrow there, it doesn't seem like this movie will be about the COVID-19 epidemic, but it will be more about kind of the work from home aspect of the COVID-19 epidemic. So it's not really going to take place during that the COVID-19 epidemic, but it's going to be about people having to work from home and communicate with each other through the means of Zoom or Skype or stuff like that. So I definitely think that is an interesting concept. Obviously, if they were making a comedy based off of the coronavirus, that I feel like would probably be a little insensitive, but it doesn't seem like that is the case. It is about the more of the work, the challenges of working from home and doing stuff like that. So I think that is definitely a very interesting approach to the kind of workplace comedy genre. This is being handled by some of the executive producers from The Office, Paul Lieberstein, who played Toby Flenderson in The Office, as well as Ben Silverman, and this will be developed by Silverman's production company, Big Breakfast. And joining Lieberstein and Silverman will be executive producers Luke Kelly Klein, Kevin Healy, and Rodney Farrell. So yeah, like I said, this at first glance, this probably looks like a terrible idea, but it's not about the coronavirus. It's about the challenges of a company having to work from home, and that, I think, is an interesting concept for a comedy, and I cannot wait to see how that pans out, essentially. So moving on now, we're going to be talking about some of our favorite movies of all time. Joining me will be Kane Jones and Ian Klingler. Let's take a look at that.
Hey guys, Kane Jones here, just popping in to tell you guys some of my favorite films of all time. I'd have to say, first off, Avatar. Iconic storyline, amazing concept, and legendary director James Cameron behind the project. I mean, legend. But that's an iconic, and I believe it had the box office record before Endgame, Avengers Endgame. You can check me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's it. Second, I'd have to say The Revenant, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Epic film, iconic. Leo is so great in it. And yeah, I just love that film. Lastly, a recent film I've seen, which is 1917, a World War I epic. Love that film. That's a personal favorite of mine as well. And those are my picks for, some of my favorite films that I've seen ever. Thank you guys. Stay inside. Stay healthy. Peace.
Hello everybody, my name is Ian Klingler, and I'm going to talk about my favorite movie of all time, Kingsman: The Secret Service. Let's get right into it. Kingsman: The Secret Service was directed by Matthew Vaughn. It stars Colin Firth, Samuel L. Jackson, Michael Caine, and a young star named Taron Egerton, who would later become Rocket Man, Mr. Elton John in the movie Rocket Man. This was a really action-packed movie. The detail says a super secret organization recruits an unrefined but promising street kid into the agency's ultra-competitive training program, just as a dire global threat emerges from a twisted tech genius. So, an excellent movie. It's just got a lot of excellent fighting sequences in the movie, a lot of nice gadgets that they use. It's a really typical British spy movie, and I think it's just a really good movie to watch. It also has a sequel, Kingsman: The Golden Circle, which I would also recommend. So yeah, that's my favorite movie of all time, Kingsman: The Secret Service.
Thanks to Kane and Ian for sending in videos for today's episode. For me, my favorite movie is definitely The Incredibles. I grew up on that movie. I was 3 years old whenever it came out, so I was the perfect age for it. And also, it's just a classic, right? I mean, if you've seen the movie, you know. Not Incredibles 2, though. That movie kind of sucks. But I definitely love The Incredibles. I grew up on that movie. Another movie I really enjoy is The Greatest Showman, starring Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron. It's a musical movie about P.T. Barnum opening up his circus. And it's definitely not the most historically accurate movie, but it's definitely a good movie nonetheless. I mean, you want your protagonist to be a good guy, right? So, yeah, he's definitely not as a terrible person as P.T. Barnum was in real life, but it was definitely a great movie, and I really, really enjoyed it. With that being said, we're going to wrap things up here on the Film Reel. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Definitely stay tuned because the news will be on here at 5:30 on News Channel 15. So definitely make sure to take a look at that. And with that being said, I'm Bryce West signing off on the Film Reel. Take care.